Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. Now, we're just about a month away from the NFL draft. So today I'm going to give my spin, my take on it, and do my own mock draft 1.0. But I want to give you guys a little preface. I am not a draft expert. I don't too much deep dive into college football like a lot of other people. I do watch it though, because you guys know I am a fan of the national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes. But I'm not a big draft expert. I like to have a little bit of fun with these things. So if you want a non-serious, little fun, little unbiased take, make sure you guys stay tuned for my mock draft. And I'll be doing one today. But without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, so we start off, we're doing all 32 teams, and there's probably going to be some trades by the way that I kind of think things may go within this draft. So let's just get right to it. Now, we have the Tennessee Titans at 1, and me personally, I think they should take a quarterback, and that's what they're going to do. And I think they select Cam Ward with the #1 overall pick. Now, the Bengals got a couple of directions that they could go. They could go quarterback. They could take somebody on their defense. They could take some offensive linemen. I personally think this is a spot where they're probably going to get the best player available. I don't see them necessarily drafting a quarterback at this moment, as they're still waiting on word from Russell Wilson, as they're still waiting on word from Aaron Rodgers at this particular moment. I do see a scenario where they can draft a quarterback, and I don't think this particular one that I'm creating will be that scenario. And I think they get a pass rusher opposite side of Myles Garrett, and they draft Abdul, the edge. Now, the Giants, on the other hand, I think this is where another quarterback goes off the board. I think this is the biggest need. They're not going to win games right away, so no matter who they take, this is not a team that is destined to win in 2025. They're still rebuilding. They still got a lot of pieces to kind of fill in, even though I think the offensive line is not great. But I think at this point, if you are sold on Shedeur Sanders, you take him, and I think they might be sold on Shedeur Sanders. Now, the Patriots, they have some options. They can trade out because their bidding is high that they don't need a quarterback. But I don't see this as a quarterback-laden draft, per se. So I think they can go a couple of ways. They can go take an offensive lineman to help protect Drake May. They can take Tour McMillan to help somebody to throw to. But I think with the Patriots, with a dynamic athlete like Travis Hunter on the board, they can use some wide receiver help as well as maybe somebody opposite side of Christian Gonzalez. I think they take Travis Hunter here. Now, the Jaguars, on the other hand, this could possibly be where a wide receiver comes off the board. This could possibly be where maybe they trade back to get more capital assets. I don't see the Jaguars necessarily drafting back. They do need some wide receiver help. They traded Christian Kirk to the Texans, and they could use some offensive line help a little bit. I think, in my personal opinion, defensive help, but this is not a big defensive back draft. So at this point, I think they take McMillan from Arizona. Now, the Raiders, they have a couple of options. They can go Jeanty. They can get a wide receiver. They can get a corner, which I think this is a possibility that they need. But in this scenario, I could see them taking a corner because I think that is one of the bigger needs on this team. They could take a running back to help with Geno Smith and help boost their run game. So this is where Jeanty, to me, comes off the board to the Raiders. Now, the Jets, they can use the quarterback here, but I don't think if they take one, I think they take one late. They can use another wide receiver. They can use some offensive line help to help protect Justin Fields. And I personally think they're going to go with the offensive line here. And I think they're going to take the best available lineman, and that is Will Campbell out of LSU. Now, the Panthers can use some wide receiver help. They can use some edge rush help. They can use some DB help. And I think this DB help outside of J.C. Horn, they could go a couple of ways here. I don't think they take a receiver here. Even though they can use some weapons for Bryce Young to throw the ball to, I think they get a receiver maybe later in the draft. They can go offensive line help to help protect him. Is another way they can go. And my personal opinion, like I said, I'm not a draft expert, just have a little fun with this. I think they can go an edge rusher here. This might be a little early for a guy like this to go, but they can draft a Mike Green out of Marshall because his draft stock has been rising from everything I've been seeing, so they could possibly use some help there. Now, the Saints, on the other hand, I think they can use a quarterback. This, I think, could be the spot where a guy like a Jaxson, who has been rising, comes off the board surprisingly. I think Derek Carr is not the answer there, but I think they might be sold on Jaxson to the point where they reach and they fall in love with a quarterback. Spencer Rattler, he has flashes, but I could see this being a possible scenario for the Saints of them drafting a quarterback to get the quarterback of their future. Next is my Chicago Bears. Now, Bears have a couple of routes that they can go. They can go Mason Graham to help on the interior of the defensive line. They can go running back, which I think you can get there later. You can go tackle here. Me personally, I think this is where Mason Graham from I hate that school. But if you can get some help on your interior, Grady Jarrett is getting a little older, so you can possibly prepare for maybe his downfall. Not downfall, but I want to say a little bit of lack in production. The age is getting up there, so if you get a rotational piece in Graham, I think that would be good. If you get a tackle like a Banks from Texas, that could be good because I'm not too much sold on Braxton Jones at tackle. So if I were the Chicago Bears, I would wait for running back later. And I think you take Mason Graham from Michigan. And the 49ers, they need guard help. They need tackle help. They need DB help. And I think this is a spot where I could see a Will Johnson out of Michigan, back-to-back Michigan players being taken. Now, the Cowboys, I think they go running back here. I think this is one of the bigger spots that they need to go in this draft. And I think they go Amari and Hampton out of North Carolina. Now, the Dolphins, I think you get some line help to protect Tua. Teron Armstead has been off and on about retirement or playing. I think you go Kelvin Banks out of Texas here. I'm kind of speed running through this just a tad. Now, the Colts can use some weapons for Anthony Richardson. They can use a ton of help on that defensive side of the ball. And I think they get the best player available at this point. And Johnny Barron out of Texas is not a reach. They could use some corner help. A tight end like Tyler Warren, I don't think they'd let a guy with that type of talent and what he can do to that offense and help develop Anthony Richardson. So I think they get Tyler Warren here. Now, the Falcons are a team that can use some receiver help outside of Drake London. This Falcons team can use a pass rusher. This Falcons team can probably shore up the offensive line with losing Drew Dalman to the Bears. Now, a direction I think they could go a Luther Burden here, but I don't know if they want to spend another first-round pick on a receiver. That could be a possibility. They could probably take another edge rusher like a guy like a James Pierce out of Tennessee, which they need help, and I think that's where they go. They get them another pass rusher, James Pierce out of Tennessee. Today's video is brought to you by Cellular C4. This is a product that I personally used before I even decided to partner with them, and the first thing I got introduced to was the energy drinks by C4. This right here is a fruit punch flavor. They have many other flavors. They have popsicle flavors that just dropped. They have Skittles, Starburst, all the type of flavors that you want. To help you get started with your day, you can wake up in the morning before you start your day and drink you one of those. And also before you get that workout in, when it's workout day, you can take you some pre-workout. To help you get the boost in your workout, all the products, 0 sugar, low calories. This is a great product to take you in your workouts and your journey on fitness to the next level. And I am happy to partner with a product that I was already using in my own personal life. And I will leave my code in the description below to save you guys 20% on your first purchase of C4 of their workouts. They even have muscle recovery to help boost after workouts. They have so many supplements and things to help you on your fitness journey, and you can get yours today in the description below. Click the link and use my code APW Sports to help you save 20%. And again, the links are in the description below. And use the code APW Sports to save you 20% on your purchase. Now, it is time to get back into the video. Now, the Cardinals, on the other hand, I think they can use some corner help to help with their defense. I think they can use some offensive line help a little bit to help protect Kyler Murray, even though I don't think Kyler Murray's the guy. So they take Jeanty here from Texas. Now, the Bengals, on the other hand, I think you can go another edge. I think you can go linebacker here. But if I were the Bengals, I'm taking a tackle here. And I'm getting another Ohio product to the Bengals. And I'm taking, in spite the injury, I'm taking Josh Simmons here out of the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, they can use an edge rusher. They can use some interior offensive line help, which I'm not really too much sold on this interior offensive line draft. From what I know, you can get another edge rusher here, which the Seattle Seahawks can use some pass rush help. And I think you take a guy with the talent like a Michael Williams out of Georgia to help with that pass rush for the Seahawks. Now, we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They can also use some DB help. They can also use some edge rush help. They can also use maybe some interior offensive linemen here. But I don't think you go corner here. You possibly could go receiver here, but I don't think that's the direction they need to go. And with this Bengals team, I think we take Starks to help with the defensive back position. You take Malachi Starks out of Georgia. Now, the Denver Broncos, I think they could use another wide receiver outside of Cortland Sutton to help with Bo Nix. I think this is a team that can use some running back help, but I always say you can get good value on running back later in the draft. So I think they go wide receiver here. Luther Burden has been slipping around boards, and I think he is the receiver that they take to help outside of Cortland Sutton to help pair with Bo Nix and get this offense more on fire. Now we're going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the trade of DK Metcalf, I think they're going to skip to later rounds to take a receiver. They can use a quarterback, but at this scenario right now, we don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up there. So maybe they take a quarterback young. Maybe they take one here because this is a team that's ready to win. They could take a tackle here to help with that offensive line, and I think they do so. And I think they do with Emeka out of Missouri. Now, the Chargers are a team that could use a wide receiver help. I think that is the biggest need on this football team. You can go defensive line here, but I think you go wide receiver here. You take Egbuka from the Ohio State University to help route running, very crisp route run, solid speed. I think he's one of the receivers that this team can use. Now, the Green Bay Packers, on the other hand, they've been known for not taking wide receivers in the first round, so I don't think they do so here, even though they need to. They can take a corner here. But I think this is where Shamar Stewart, a guy who's been rising as far as these draft prospects goes, falls here. Now, the Vikings, I think they can use some DB help. I think there's a team that can use some D-line help. And I think you go with a guy like a Kenneth Grant. You can go him here. And I think this is where they're going to go with a guy like Kenneth Grant. They can go linebacker here. They can use a little bit of linebacker help, in my opinion. But I think they're going to go a guy like Kenneth Grant, who has been solid for Michigan, and he has solid speed for a big man. I think you go take him here. Houston, Texas, can use some wide receiver help, and I think they get their own in their own far state, and they get Texas, Matthew Golden. The Rams, I think this is where Colston Loveland from Michigan falls off the board. He could be a guy to pair with Stafford, pair with a guy like Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua on that offense, and they get Colston Loveland here. And the Baltimore Ravens, I think they can use a bit much of a pass rush help. They can use secondary help, and this is where Donovan Ezeriku from Boston College falls. Now, the Lions, it says receiver. I personally wouldn't go receiver here. I think you go edge. You can go linebacker help here. And this is where Campbell, Jahai Campbell from Alabama falls. Now, the Washington Commanders have done a lot within this football team, have done a lot with this roster. They could use another running back to pair outside of Robinson. They could use some edge rush help, especially with the loss of Jonathan Allen. They could use some cornerback help. And me personally, I wouldn't go. I could go with them a running back here, but I think, like I always said, you can get running back later round. You can get those positions in later rounds. But if you're looking at what this team could really use, I think you could go corner here. I think you go edge rush here. And I think they get a guy like a Scorton out of Texas A&M. Now, the Bills can use a lot. They can use some. I think most of their help is needed on defense. They can use some wide receiver help, obviously. But I think they get a guy like a Jalen Walker out of Georgia here. Now, with the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously that offensive line needs help. Joe Tooney is now departed. And a guy like Trey Smith they brought back. And I think they go offensive line here. They go Greg Zamble out of North Dakota State. Now, the Eagles, they can use a wide receiver here. They can use guard here. But in my personal opinion, I think they try to help with their trenches even more or get a secondary help maybe. But I think a guy like a Derek Harmon falls here. Now, like I said, I'm doing this just for fun. I am doing this just for fun. I am not, like I said, I am not a big draft expert guy. So at the end of the day, I'm just here to have some fun with this mock draft. And this is how I think I see it. But that is all I have for today. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And let me know what you guys think. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.